Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Amelia Bella Putri Adama. I'm come from Department of Chemistry. My NRI is 500-420-1140. In here, I will provide a little information about the dangers of drugs. What is drug? Drugs are substances if put into the human body excessively can change a person's behavior. Drugs are substances or substances which, if taken into the human body, either orally or taken orally in health or injector, can change a person's thoughts, mood or feelings and behavior. Drugs can cause physical and psychological dependence or addiction. All of these terms, either drugs or drugs, refer to a group of substances that are generally at risk of addiction for their use. Real function. In the medical world, drugs are actually psychotropic substances used to anesthetize patients during surgery. According to health experts, drugs are actually psychotropic substances that are usually used to sedate patients when they are about to undergo surgery or drugs for certain disease. The use of drugs, other than medical purpose without a doctor's supervision, is an act against the law, as stipulated in Article 59 of Law Number 5 of 1997 concerning psychotropics and Law Number 22 of 1997 concerning narcotics. One type of drug used in the world of mankind is heroin. Heroin is a type of opioid drug that is illegal and highly addictive. This drug is made from morphine, which is a natural substance except for the seeds of various poppy plants that grow in Southeast and Southwest Asia, Mexico, and Colombia. Heroin is usually used as an anesthetic, which is quite potent in surgical procedures. When heroin enters the brain and binds the opioid receptor or cell in various areas, you usually won't feel any pain even if you are in the process surgery. On the other hand, heroin can also provide pleasure and affect your heart rate, sleep, and breathing. Next is abuse. Drug is often used by someone to have fun and want to forget about the problem. Even the continuous use will cause dependence or addiction. Drug abuse includes use that has gone beyond the dose limit or overdose. This is due to various decisions ranging from the desire to experiment, have fun, follow trends or styles, symbolize social status, want to forget about problems, and so on. Abuse drugs. Continuous use will lead to dependence or dependency, also called addiction. Drug abuse is very much influenced by the promiscuity of today's teenagers. The refusal to try to feel pleased is said it's because the mind is not slain if you have test drugs, especially in today's where everything is easy to get, including getting items in the form of white powder. The most fatal impact of drug abuse is overdose, which result indeed. From the INS data, around 55,000 people die every year due to drug use, where 78% of teenagers. There are so many impacts caused by drug abuse. At last, teenagers can think wisely before trying new things. The next is types of drugs. According to data on types of drugs in the world, there have been 645 types. According to data taken from various sources, the types of drugs in the world have visited 645 types, of which 65 have entered our country. Unfortunately, out of the 65 species, only 43 are listed in law. So there is no other way for us other than to continue to dig up information about these types of drugs. But these that are listed in the law or not, that way, we will not be a group of people who oppose the function of drugs or narcotics. In addition, we also have to report the government so the types of drugs that have not been registered can be registered into the law. It's well done so that the dealers and users of new types of drugs can be processed legally. Protection is the people around them from the threat of drugs should also be done so that they are not dragged into the flow of drugs. In general, drugs are classified into three types: narcotics, psychotropic, and addictive substance. Narcotics are substances or drugs derived from plants or synthetic or semi-synthetic, which can reduce awareness, loss of taste, reduce pain, and can lead to dependence. Psychotropic, natural or synthetic, non-narcotic substance or drugs that have psychoactive properties, drug selective influence on the central nervous system, which cause distinctive change in mental activity and behavior. Addictive substances are other substances that are not narcotics or psychotropic substances, the use of which can lead to psychological or physical dependence. For example, alcohol, cigarettes, and caffeine. Okay. Next is causing factors. Individual factors. Most drug abuse kinds are occurs in relations because relations who are undergoing rapid biological, psychological, and social change are individuals who are vulnerable to abuse drugs. Children or adolescents with certain characteristics are at greater risk of becoming drug abusers. It can also be because of the lack of family affection, because the child is nervous because his mother and father often fight, so he tries to take drugs in order to make the problem he is thinking about safer. Environmental factor. Include family and social environment factor, but around the house, school, peers, and community. Environmental factor that contribute to the cause of a child of teenager to abuse drugs. School environment. Less discipline. School located near entertainment venues and drug dealers. School that do not provide opportunities for students to develop themselves creatively and positively. There are students who use drugs. Social environment. Make friends with drug users, or traits from group friends or drug dealers. Drug abuse is very much influenced by the promiscuity of today's teenagers. The refusal to try to feel prestige is said. It is because the mind is not slain if you haven't tasted drugs, especially in today's era where everything is easy to get, including getting items in the form of white powder. The most fatal impact of drug abuse is overdose, which result in jail. There are so many impacts caused by drug abuse. The least teenagers can think wisely before trying the things. Community environment, weak law, enforcement, unfavorable political, social, and economic situation. A target that easily entangled, many are popular among teenagers and have even entered the world of campus. Currently, drugs are increasingly being traded throughout the world. This was has spread throughout environment, not only among not children and youth, but has entered the campus environment. Drug consumption is getting higher, especially young people are increasingly consuming drugs. Drug users who are usually teenagers are still unstable and finally decide to fall on drugs. The impact of drugs. If the user is addicted or is commonly called withdrawal, then they must get the drug. Sakau. Sakau is a condition in which the body remains the substance that have been entered before, so that if it is not fulfilled, the body will feel sadistic until the user cannot handle if they do not get drugs. Furthermore, drugs worsen health. Wood doesn't know this danger, but they don't care. Drug abuse will clearly worsen health. From the ratio of research by experts, drug users tend to have very low body resistance, so they are prone to disease such as fever, respiratory disease, heart disease, and even cancer. This clearly made their future rich. Therefore, you should avoid drugs. The next result is mental decline. Drug user will experience mental decline after consuming drugs. This is clearly detrimental to himself. Drug user will often experience depression, excessive anxiety, hallucination, and other mental disorders. This will destroy the future of drug user because if a drug user is addicted, it will be difficult to stop unless drug rehabilitation process. Consuming drugs, especially in overdose, is very easy to cultivate because when our organs have been ground by the harmful substance at time, then withdrawal occurs and mental decline. The function of our organs will not run normally. We will continue to feel the lowest point, susceptible to disease, and always weak. If it causes for a long time, it can cause death. The next is prevention. Efforts to fight drug abuse should not only be beyond drug demonstration or poster, socialization or introduction to the types of drugs, but new and all discharge to beyond. This is done so that people know what is a type of drugs, as well as what front and negative effects of using these drugs. Socialization can be carried out from remote areas to urban centers. That way, people are not easily fooled when there are unscrupulous dealers who offer drugs with the myth that these drugs are multivitamin drugs, antidepressants, and so on. So, the government and other authorities must carry out the socialization step above, so that people can get to know more about drugs. By knowing drugs in depth, efforts to combat drug abuse will be maximized because people are very familiar with the object they are fighting against. Efforts that can be made cooperating with the authorities to provide education about the dangers of drugs, or perhaps conditions and rights and rights. Parental assistance is also very important by providing love and attention. Effort to prevent the spread of drugs among students should be our responsibility. In this case, all parties, including parents, teachers, and the community, must take an active role in being aware of the threat of drugs, especially teenagers or students. Until now, there has been no such effective treatment for sufferers of large drug users. People who take drugs are buying tickets for an hour's journey without being able to return. That means that even though there is still a harmful effect. Not only the impact on health if we use drugs, but we can also get punished. So whatever the reason, drugs are not a way to have the enjoyment or pleasure of life. Never accept an invitation to try drugs. Avoid drugs before drugs trap you, because drug abuse is a shadow of death in life. It will also erase your life's dreams, even your personality. For the whatever the reason, and why don't you consume this illegal drugs, especially just for social reasons? Because drug life is same and same. There is absolutely no benefit from using the drug itself. Say no to drugs. Drugs are good blood killers. Stay away or die. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.